Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Thank you for taking the time to meet here today with members of the press and content creators from around the continent. My name is Samantha Teta. I will be moderating this discussion. With your permission, Your Excellency, may we proceed directly to the questions? Thank you, sir. I would like to remind members of the press, will you please introduce yourselves and your media house, and then please limit yourself to one question so everyone can get a turn. If you have a question, please.
Maybe let me say
Yes, sir.
a word or two before we get started. Always aware, like you are, where we are on a number of things. I think we can talk about the economy, the country, and how it is operating under all kinds of constraints, as we know them, internal, external factors leading to that. We may talk about regional integration, which has been on the agenda for every country that is part of this Eastern African region. We may talk about conflicts, mainly the one in our immediate region and the neighborhood. We may talk about global issues, the geopolitics and all kinds of stuff. But I can't forget to thank the Rwandans who stay the course and contribute to the stability of the country and contribute to other situations far away from here under different circumstances. I think some of the achievements or the progress thereof made in the country, it's largely because of our population, our people who, even when there are serious problems, they still stand tall and work together and confront the challenges without too much complaining, because that doesn't necessarily solve the problems. So that's a bit of where we are, and you're welcome with the questions. Any question?
Thank you, sir.
Even if it doesn't fall within those things I have mentioned.
Yes, Mary?
Good evening. My name is Mary Wangare from the East Africa, Nairobi. My question is in regards to the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Would you have any concerns about this ambitious agreement that was launched during your tenure as the chairperson of the AU reforms? Because the trading is not happening, it seems not to be happening as it was intended to, basically because of the non-tariff barriers and among other issues regarding the free trade agreement.
Right.
Yeah.
I take one by one, maybe. It's easier to answer directly to the question. Well, first of all, for one, I'm happy that that step was made for Africa to come together and not only think about, but put a framework in which we are going to realize broader trade within the continent and trading with each other. through and guided by FTA. And so that is a good step to begin with. But that's not an end in itself. We all should have been bearing in mind that that is a good beginning of a very hard task that we had to carry out as well. And doing it brings more benefits than just creating a concept around and framing things around trade and trading with each other. Doing it is the most important thing. And that's where we have fallen short as a continent. We are falling short. We are not moving at the right pace, and therefore that requires we look back and ask ourselves all along, why did we create this? And if we fully understood the benefits, how can we falter on the way to doing what we have to do? So that takes discussions. We keep nudging each other and trying to find the excuses some people have or reasons for not contributing to it fully as we should. So that's a work in progress. But I agree with you. It can cause frustration, and for good reasons. I think the Africans must be frustrated, and maybe those who really put a lot of weight to all this must be feeling the frustration. But we can't just keep complaining. We have to find a way of getting together and doing what we have to do. Again, it's not as easy as that, as just saying it. So I'm concerned, but I'm also happy that this effort was ever put in place. So the frustration is just about how fast and how well we can move forward.
Thank you, Excellency. We'll take the next question from Dive, RBA.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, nitwa Dive nkorera RBA. Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, leta imaze iminsi ifata ingamba zikomeye ku binyobwa bisembuye n'inzoga zitujuje ubuziranenge. Zimwe mu nganda zarafunzwe, ibicuruzwa bimwe biramenwa, ndetse ba nyiri inganda abazikoreraga n'abakozi ba leta bakurikiranweho kugira uruhare muri iki kibazo. Hari abavuga ku buzima bw'abaturage ko bwari mu kaga kubera izi nzoga, ariko nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, hari n'abandi bavuga ku gihombo cy'abashoramari n'abacuruzi. Kuri mwe iki kibazo murakivugaho iki? Gikwiriye gusiga irihe somo yaba ku bacuruzi ndetse no ku nzego za leta zishinzwe ubuziranenge n'ubutumwa muha abaturage bijyanye n'iki kibazo? Murakoze.
Kuri icyo kibazo tureke kwibaza gusa ibivugwa. Kwibaza ibivugwa, abantu bavuga ibintu bashatse ibyo ari byo byose bitewe n'imitekerereze yabo cyangwa uko bifuza. Ariko kubivugwa twongereho n'ibigaragara n'ibyo tubona noneho biba. Hari ibyo binyobwa bidafite ubuziranenge na gake ndetse bihita n'abantu, twahera aho ngaho twakwibaza. Ariko ibi nibyo byica abantu, byisha abantu, tugaheraho honyine. Igisubizo ugishaka wese aragifite. Byica abantu, byisha abantu, ndetse batagira umubare. niba mukurikira rero nyine amakuru nk'uko bamwe muri mwe mugomba kuba mukurikira, ntabwo ari ukuvuga ngo hapfuye abantu babiri gusa uyu munsi, ngo ejo hapfuye undi umwe, barapfa. Hari 20, 30, 50, hari ubwo hapfuye ari hafi kugera mu 100. Ndavuga ku munsi umwe ugiye gushyira hamwe abamaze gupfa mu mwaka, urabyumva uko abantu bangana. Mbere yuko ngera kuri ibyo bindi by'inganda by'abakozi, tubanze dusubize ikibazo cy'ubuzima cy'aba bantu. Ese turashaka inganda n'abakozi bazikoramo bari buhitanwe n'ibikorerwa muri izo nganda, cyangwa turashaka ibihitana abantu batwaye mu nganda kugurisha ibikenewe n'izo nganda, ukajya muri izo nganda ugatwara ibyo inganda zikoresha, warangiza wataha wakwifuza gufata ku byavuye mu byo watwaye mu nganda ukahagwa. Ibyo ni ubuzima abantu bakwiriye kuba bemera bakurikira. Ariko noneho wenda turavuga ibya hano gusa, nabyo kandi bifite agaciro, nabyo duhereyeho. Ibyo binyobwa byica abantu nta nubwo ari ibikorerwa hano cyangwa ibituruka hano gusa, hari n'ibituruka hanze. Ibituruka hanze bizanwa bituje ubuziranenge bikica abantu. Maze mu kwica hari uburyo butandukanye. Hari ibibica uwo munsi, icyo cyumweru, hari nabo bizica nyuma y'umwaka. Kwica buhoro ukagenda uko binywa bikagenda bikwica kugeza igihe umuntu anogoka nyuma y'umwaka. Ibyo rero ntabwo ndumva neza igihe umuntu waba bishyigikiye ngo atekereze inganda, atekereze abantu bakora muri izo nganda, ukuyemo abo byica umunsi ku wundi nk'uko bizwi, nk'uko mubibona. Abo rero reba nk'uruganda cyangwa uburyo abantu bateguye ibyo binyobwa, byaba ari mu ruganda, byaba ari mu rugo, byaba ari hehe, byisha abantu uyu munsi. Birongeye wowe ibyo ukora, ndavuga ahantu hamwe, birongeye byisha abandi uwundi munsi, ikindi gihe. Birongeye byisha abandi, I'm talking about the same place, ndavuga ahantu hamwe. Birongeye byisha abandi ahandi ikindi gihe. Ubu ukavuga ngo urakora ikize. Ariko noneho usibye wowe ubikora bikica abantu, iki gihugu kiyoborwa gite? Igihugu cyareka abantu bagapfa gusa kikarebera cyo kiba ari igihugu ni igihugu gifite imibereho imeze ite? Ni nayo mpamvu bariya bashinzwe imirimo itandukanye ireba iby'ubuziranenge, uvuga bakurikiranwaho, babazwa ibyo babazwa, nicyo bagiriyeho. Izo nzego zigiriyeho kureba ngo ibikorwa ibyo ari byo byose ntabwo byica abantu, ahubwo ni ibifasha ubuzima bw'abantu gutera imbere. Bamwe muri aba rero ndibwira ko babifitemo uruhare, ndetse bashobora kuba bafite n'uruhare muri izo nganda, cyangwa se abafite izo nganda babahuma amaso bakareka ibintu byabo bigahita bikajya kwica abantu. ibyo niko ntekereza, ariko noneho bazabyisubiririza igihe bakurikiranweho ibyo ngibyo, nibo bazabisubiza, nta wundi wabibasubiriza. Si ibyo gusa, n'ibindi tumaze iminsi tuvuga, niba mubikurikira, ibiyobyabwenge, abantu hari iby'ibinyobwa, hari ibindi by'ibiyobyabwenge abantu bahinduye, mwagiye murabiririmba, mubyita amazina y'igitangaza, mugira mute, birica abantu, birica abana, birica abantu batoya mu gihugu, n'abakuru hari ababirimo, ndetse birica abantu igihugu cyaberaho kugira ngo kirebere abantu bapfa, abantu bacyo bapfa. Ntuvuga ngo hatazagira ubaza bakwiriye kubaza impamvu abantu bapfa, ntabwo ari ukubaza impamvu ibyica abantu bicibwa. Kuri iyo ntambara rero, abanyumva cyangwa n'ababirimo bo babyiteguye, ntabwo abo turaza guhangana nabo nyine, baraza kujya ku murongo uko bikwiye, abantu bazi icyo bisaba, baragishoboye, ariko ibyo kujya kuzana imico n'imikorere yica abantu aho bayivana birabareba, aho ngaho handi niba barabyemeye, ibyo ntabwo bindeba, ntabwo aho handi handeba. Njye n'umuyobozi w'iki gihugu ndareba iby'iki gihugu n'abanyarwanda, no gukorana nabo kugira ngo bashobore kumenya ibibafitiye inyungu n'ibitabafitiye inyungu. Ushaka rero kurenga amategeko cyangwa gukora we kubera ko agomba gukora uko yifuza, ibyo ari byo byose aba ari byo bishyirwa imbere, abo ngabo bazahangana n'ababishinzwe kubishyira mu buryo. Hari ikintu nabonye mu byo nsoma n'iki kugira ngo bijyanye n'ibyo abantu bibaza, ariko se uko bikorwa, kunenga uko bikorwa, uko bishyirwa, ndavuga uko bikurikiranwa, uko abantu bafatwa, uko bagira bate, uko bagenzwa, bishobora kuba birimo ikibazo, uko abantu bavuga. Ibyo mbona ibyo niba ari ikibazo, ni ikibazo gitoya ugereranije n'ikibazo kiriho gishaka gukemurwa, ariko nacyo ni ikibazo gishobora gukemuka. Inzego zibishinzwe baba bakora ibintu bitari byo, bakwiye kubihindura, ariko ntabwo byavana abantu ku ntego yo guhangana n'icyo kibi abantu bagomba guhangana nacyo. Ibyo kujya abifuza ko abantu babirwanya, ariko babivuga neza, bogeza babirimo, icyo ni ikindi kibazo cyoroshye gukemura.
Thank you, sir. We'll take the next question from KNC. Okay.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I am Kakoza Nkuriza Charles, known as KNC, from TV1. Your Excellency, it's over a year since Washington Peace Agreement. But till now, FDLR, it is a threat to Rwandan security. Of recent, we heard of new cantonment and surrendering deal for FDLR and DRC Congo. And Congo is putting it out as a commitment to the Washington Peace Agreement. Your Excellency, does Rwanda see it as the neutralization process that was put into that agreement, or it is a political trick? Thank you, Excellency.
Yeah, this problem of FDLR and other associated problems we have in the region, we have in Eastern Congo. First of all, It's not complicated. It's not difficult to understand what really is at issue. And this is a problem that has been there for 3 decades now. The whole world has got involved over time, and whether it is the UN, whether it is United States or Europe or Asia or name it. Africa, of course, where it is happening. For those who follow and want to really understand, minus the usual biases or complications people create for no good reason. The facts are there, they are clear. The origin of the problem is known. The handling and the mishandling of this problem over many years is known. The actors are known. So there have been, you're talking about the Washington Accords. These are just recent efforts. Before that, over many years past, the efforts and the discussions and the noises about how to deal with the problem have run into their hundreds, but you still remain with the problem. Some would even want to simplify it and say it is Rwanda the problem. Meaning if we didn't have Rwanda, or if there was a way of carrying this country somewhere and turn it into an island in the Pacific or Indian Ocean or wherever, remove it from here. That may be a solution. That's what they imply here. Maybe a solution will be found. But ask yourself whether that really is true. There are many parties to this program. One is Congo, the other is the international community that has really messed up this whole thing from the beginning, as we know it. There is Rwanda, there are other countries of our region. All these have a way they have contributed to the problem and a way they can contribute to a solution. But the way it is handled seems not to put that into account. And that's why the problem goes on forever. Nobody addresses the root cause of this problem. I haven't heard of any effort so far that focuses and tries to address the root cause. It's always something superficial. It's one day, FDR, yes, they are there. Then the next day, no, they are not there. Actually, they were finished. Then another day, who are the FDR after all? I think Rwanda is just creating this thing as an excuse to go and steal minerals in Congo. And this kind of, I don't know what to call it, the kind of argument that goes on, even with the people you thought they were really serious. I think sometimes we overrate the capacity of leaders and countries and so, when you listen to some of these arguments and the people they come from, you really wonder what you have to deal with. So no root cause addressed. Then immediately there are sanctions. sanctions. I've never understood, sanctions, yes, they really create problems. They do. But that is all. There are problems added to the problems that were originally there, that's all. It's not anything to do with trying to address the problem. And especially if you look at the manner in which they are applied. Instead of sanctioning FDLR or those who work with them or support them, they sanction those who fight them. I mean, I don't understand the logic. Then instead of saying, in Eastern Congo, there is a problem of Congolese who are involved in this conflict for their own rights. The AFC, M23, and many other groups that have been fighting there. So, what is the origin of this problem? Is it really Rwanda's case to answer? Are we the ones denying these Congolese their rights in Congo? Are we even the ones who actually made them fight to restore their rights in Congo? I will always come back to inform you as whether you want to keep it in mind or what. Even the origin of this conflict, as we know it, which started in, is it 2022 or what? We are now running into, is it 22? October 21, running into 22. How did it start? Actually, this conflict was started by Congo itself, working with people to have this invasion into Congo start, and the plan was always to put it on the shoulders of Rwanda. Try, without mentioning names, without anything, you people try to, as you live here, find out where did these people who are fighting originate from? Where did they come from? Did they come from Rwanda? If you find they came from Rwanda, maybe there is a reason to say, yeah, but there is something Rwanda is not saying in full. They are giving us a piece of story. Find out. So, the start of this conflict is not by Rwanda. And then Rwanda comes to own the problem, the origin of the problem. It is made to own the origin of the problem. Rwanda's problem has always been FDLR in Congo. I can repeat it 100 times. And if this problem of FDLR is not resolved, of course, Rwanda will always remain involved as part of this problem. I mean, there are no two ways about it. And this is something we have said for the last 30 years. So if you don't want Rwanda, if anybody keeps saying Rwanda, 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 and doesn't want Rwanda to have anything to say in this, why don't you remove this problem and see whether Rwanda was using it as an excuse? But there is even open information. By the way, people in Kinshasa, the government and officials, they say it publicly, openly. They've said it many times over a long time. They tell you, yeah, they want to bring change in Rwanda. The people that are saying this, FDLR, yeah, we see, okay, we are going to deal with them, we are going, like you said, they are the ones saying it. They are saying they have done something about FDLR, it is because they are there. If they were not there, they wouldn't be doing anything with or against FDLR. But what we know on a regular basis, they arm them, they integrate them in their own forces, and we have evidence because we have people here, former FDLR combatants who have been part of all those efforts. And either some of them came back home on their own or were captured in Congo, and they are telling the same story. You people, if you know a place called Mutobo, there is a place called Mutobo where we take people and for the effort of reintegrating them in the society. These people are there, they give you space to interview directly these people who will tell you these stories. The same people of the UN, the same people in the US, the same people in Europe, the same people who keep asking questions, some of them representing their own governments, have actually been there and they have been told these things, and the very people involved have given them anything and everything they wanted to know about FDLR and how it is well embedded and supported by and in Congo. So these questions that keep coming, I mean, we live in a world that is like this. We have to deal with it the way it is. So for us, I mean, we have calmed ourselves down and are having to deal with the world that we have. We cannot create our own world. That's too much for us. So we deal with it as the way it is. We carry the blame that is not ours. We've been insulted, abused, belittled, and to a point that sometimes people are made to feel like you really don't matter in this world. What they tell us, what they keep saying, it's like they're giving us a message, you don't matter. So sanctioning is just to punish you, to drive the screw hard into your back. And at that expense, they promote whoever they want to promote for whatever reasons that are not my business. But the question remains, how do we behave ourselves? One, we behave in a manner that protects us at any cost. We will do anything that contributes to that protection, day or night. There are no two ways about it. That one we will, no question. We will also try to do what is right. If we, you know, we are a country that can't afford to mess up. If you give the so many enemies we have an excuse, a chance to bring it to us, I think it will be largely our mistake. So we would try to avoid that. We do what is right to protect ourselves, and we will do it without fear or favor, day or night, anytime. We are happy to do that. Actually, it's a pleasure to do the hardest task, to protect ourselves. That's what it is. And the rest of what we try to do is actually, we've been trying to team up with other countries in bringing peace in different parts of our continent. And that simply underlines how much we want peace. Rwanda, we want peace. To the point that we are ready to fight for it. And that's our main thing. We want peace and we want to work with others to have peace. So with all that, I have given you, figure out what answers your question. But that's what it is.
Thank you, Excellency. We'll take the next question. We'll take one from James Munyaneza. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is James Munyaneza. I'm from the New Times. And I want also to go back to the issue of the region. Of course, we have Burundi to the south. And the president of Burundi recently said that there were conversations with Rwanda, and Rwanda made commitments that he claims Rwanda did not honor. If you could shed some light around that, and this relates to the suspects linked to 2015.
Around something that didn't happen.
Okay, I think that's very important to understand, because he made these claims. Yeah.
Well, let's be clear. That where did that happen and where?
So from what you were saying, it sounded like there had been conversations between the two countries, bilateral engagements.
What time? Because the time matters.
I think that was not clear from what he said.
So everything is not clear.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know how you can answer that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because there is no commitment we ever made that we did not fulfill. Not with the president of Burundi, not with anyone.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Unless there something comes up specifically, then I will answer it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's now clear enough.
But maybe you might find one night he dreamt and thought that happened. The only thing I remember when we talked, and actually is the one who did not do what he, and I think I have ever said this, at the beginning, when the Burundi forces went to the north of Kivu North in Goma and other things, when we learned it, we learned about it through intelligence. I called, I'm the one who called the president of Burundi that time and asked him, I asked him that I have heard there are forces of Burundi going to our north Kivu. I said, why would you be, and I told him, I said, there have also been these accusations that Burundi, in a way, has been associated with this FDLR. Much earlier, before there had been some, we remember in the Nyungwe area when there was, there were reports and there were incursions from Burundi, some group called this, they have some name.
FLN.
FLN. They are coming from there. I said, but I have heard on top of that, association of Burundi with FDLR. Now I'm hearing that you are sending forces to North Kivu. I said, President, is this true? The man said, no. It was like, who told you? There is nothing like that. In fact, he insisted, he told me I should cross-check my information. That those people who just want to cause problems, must be people who told me lies, and so on and so forth. I said, President, I will take your word. Much as I think the reports I received were credible, but I will take your word for it. I mean, a couple of weeks after, they were captured in the North Kivu. Yes, I had discussed it with him. So I don't tell lies like he did to me. I don't. So on that one, I don't know which meeting or commitment or whatever he's referring to.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President, on that. Finally, if you may allow, recently there has been reports about a planned oil refinery by Dangote in the East African region, in Kenya specifically. And then reports also, were saying Kenya is, that he had offered a stake, 30% stake. And then they mentioned Kenya, Rwanda, Ethiopia, and other interested countries. Has there been such a conversation on Rwanda potentially acquiring a stake in that project, that oil refinery, just in case? Thank you.
In a way, there has been. But it is too early to talk about the details, because I think it is work in progress. Things are still being thought out. But what I can say is that Rwanda would be very happy to be part of that kind of investment.
Thank you, Excellency. I'll take another question. Yes, Miriam? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mariam, and I'm a content creator from Morocco. I have been cycling around the continent for the last 3 years, crossing 34 African countries. And while traveling, I saw how...
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And while cycling, I saw how much it was challenging and expensive to cross borders. And
especially Rwanda.
Rwanda was visa-free, so I was glad this
I thought it was challenging in terms of mountains and...
No, the physical challenge was easier than the borders crossing.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so while crossing, I saw how this limits African connection with each others. Yeah. But we saw how Rwanda was example of African interaction and making it easier, like for African to cross the country or visit the country. Mm-hmm. And my question for Your Excellency, what's the example of the mindset you can give, like, to African leaders to make it easier for Africans to connect and build opportunities together? Thank you.
Right. Well, to begin with, I don't want even remotely to be perceived like I'm thinking for other people. I think for myself, and together with Rwandans, we think for ourselves. We can think together with others if they want, so if they invite us, if they think it is helpful. But we always want to do our best at home here. But in the meetings we have had, and there have been several different government official levels of different countries on our continent, to talk about this visa-free or making really ease of crossing borders and so on and so forth. We give our opinion, not only our opinion, but example of what we are doing for ourselves, so that other people either may, because what we are telling them, first we demonstrate that we have not encountered any serious problems by making it easy for people to cross our border, in or out. We just demonstrate that. We haven't found any problems. What we have discovered are only benefits. And that's what we share with the people. We tell them, for us, in our experience, we have discovered benefits. And we tell our brothers and sisters, why wouldn't you want these benefits yourselves? But that's where we stop, because we can't do anything for anybody else. So, yeah, we keep doing what we think is best for us, or even for the continent, that is within our means, and keep sharing it, and keep looking forward to working together with others in the continent to do really what is expected. That's the only thing we can do. Yeah. So otherwise, I mean, one of the benefits is that you can be there and tell the story. You didn't lose anything, we didn't lose anything. I think we gained that you were able to come to our country and do whatever you want to do, and you will leave when you want to leave, and maybe come back sooner rather than later. And that's, so imagine if it was multiplied thousands or millions of times, the benefits the Africans would have in that.
Thank you, Excellency. Shall we take a question from Iramide, the front? The front.
Good day, Mr. President. My name is Iramide Ajayi. I'm an actor, digital creator from Nigeria. It's my first time in Rwanda, and I must say it's beautiful. Thank you for having myself and the other creators. I'll be speaking from the perspective of a creative, essentially, and tying it to the ASG theme for this year. If Met-Africanism is pretty much about moving from simply recognizing our shared identities as Africans to more or less building together at this time and building meaningful connections, what does that exactly mean for the African creative industries? Essentially, if you have to put in place some policies or whatever changes as the president to further help African creators, African creatives in general, build sustainable careers, collaborate together, and essentially tell our stories ourselves on a global scale, what would that policy be? And I think because you just said something almost similar to my question in response to Miriam's one, because you don't want to think for the rest of Africans, I think you should just tell us from the perspective of your position as the president of Rwanda, what exactly would Rwanda do to help build a better ecosystem for African creatives? Thank you, sir.
Yeah. First, the African creatives exist, and that's why you are there and doing whatever you're doing. So you already have pretty much in ideas of what could be done. In fact, I would even flip the question and ask you, since you started the journey yourself, and it's a good thing that you really happen to be, and with all the work you've done, or what you've gone through, what are the hindrances you've encountered on the way that you thought and said, no, but if this thing was not like this, maybe I would do better, I would be better in service of the creative industry. So bear that in mind as well, because that helps me to say, oh, so meaning the task is for both of us. You tell me from your experience, and I will respond to that with my responsibility at the policy level to make sure that the obstacles you meet maybe shouldn't be there, and therefore they should be removed. You see what I mean? Yes. This conversation is already useful. You are there, and like others who raise it, whether it is the AFCFTA or the lady from Morocco who was riding through this country, and the creative, and so you're all having a journey in your minds and in your experiences and whatever professions, and in trying to go a step further every day, there might be challenges that raise in you some questions you should put to us and say, but how? How come that the proud African continent that wants to achieve this and that, at least we make all this understood in the way of statements? How can you be the ones at the same time who create these obstacles? Really, this should be a very serious conversation, and you should not hesitate to raise it. Rather than for me to say, as the president, I will try and do this and do that. Maybe some of the things I even have in mind to do are not answering your questions. Yes, I want, give us what you think, and then let's talk about it. Let's find a way to, right?